Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Joel Embiid, Shake Milton, and Furkan Korkmaz all spoke to the media via Zoom yesterday, and I would love to dive into those comments. But obviously, Joel Embiid is the star of the show when it comes to those three, and the real question is Joel Embiid in shape, right? That's what we were expecting to see. Some people in these Zoom calls, they get a shot of waist up. With Joel Embiid, he was leaned up against the wall. You know where the padding is in the gym, in the basketball gym, the padding along the back side of the wall? He was leaned up against that with only his neck showing. So I feel as if he did that on purpose. Oh, you guys want to see what type of shape I'm in? Hell no, you're not getting what type of shape I'm in. All you could see was his face, and it did look slimmer. I'm not going to lie to you. The face looked slimmer, but it's not enough for me to jump out of my seat and go, oh yeah, baby, Joel Embiid is in the best shape of his life. I'm done with that conversation. Just show me on the damn court. Now, I will say this. The tone of voice didn't really move the needle for me. Now, you can say, well, bros, would you really want to do a Zoom call like that? Would you really want to be in that situation and talk about things right now via Zoom? Maybe it was just because he did not feel like having some sort of media day for him. He did not feel like speaking. Maybe that's why his voice and his tone was so blah. But it was so blah. Talking about how he wants the ball more. Talking about how he needs to be more assertive. Talking about how him and Al Horford do work together. But the tone of voice, I mean, you gotta sell me it a little bit more, dude. What type of car salesman goes in there and goes, yeah, I have a Honda Civic for you. It's a really nice Honda Civic. It's got good mileage, and it's cheap. Well, that doesn't sell me the vehicle. Come on down. That gives me the feeling like, damn, I gotta get myself that car. So with Joel Embiid, the tone of voice, it really did kind of mess with how I felt about what he had to say. And when I tie that together with his feelings on returning to basketball right now, it's hard for me to believe that he is going to go down there and be the most dominant player ever. And it's okay to feel the way that he feels. A lot of players seem to feel the way that he feels. He doesn't think the NBA should returning. He felt like it was possible he would opt out. He was questioning at one point, should he opt out? He wants to make sure that long-term his health will be okay. He wants to make sure that his family will be okay. And that is so okay with me. It's unbelievable. I totally can get behind somebody feeling that way. But when you tie that with him putting in so much work to be the most dominant big man when he returns, I kind of see like it doesn't coexist together. Not wanting to be there and then going there and being one of the most dominant players in the league, I don't think that those two go together. If you want to be the best player when you're down there, you're excited to get down there, you're excited to go there, you're excited to play basketball. I don't get the sense that he wants to go play basketball. And like I said, you're okay during a pandemic. Like, it's okay during a pandemic to not want to go play basketball. But then don't try and sell me that I got to be more assertive when I'm down there. And I'm going to take control. Because to me, nah, it's not the same. It's not the same. These two do not add up to one another. Before we dive more into his quotes, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit Energy and Power is home to solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They also can provide water purification systems, clean, healthy water for your family, tree removals, battery storage, backup energy services, and more. So visit them online. Their information is in the description, or give them a phone call. Their phone number is also in the description. So here's a couple of his quotes. I'm not a big fan of the idea, but then again, I'm going to do my job. I'm not going to let my city down. I'm going to represent my city, my family, my teammates. That's what I've always done. To me, that's just a beefed up quote for a media call. Like, that's just him kind of, when we talk about coach speak, when coaches are giving you coach speak, to me, that's just player speak. I'm going to do it for my city. And once again, it comes with the tone. I'm going to do it for my city. Compared to, I'm going to do it for my city. Two different ways that is said. And with the way that Joel Embiid was speaking yesterday, it did not move the needle for me at all. At the end of the day, basketball is not all that matters. I want to make sure I'm able to live for a long time and not have any sort of consequences in the future. Like I said, this is all very fair stuff. I'm not criticizing him for feeling uncomfortable going to play basketball. I just don't think that when you look at Joel Embiid, when you look at the work that he put in, the 6 days a week of working out, putting all the effort into training and to make sure that his body is ready to go for when the basketball season returns, how does someone do that properly when they don't feel like playing is the best option? They don't feel like playing is the move here. Like, he obviously does not feel like playing basketball is safe. He's not 100% in on it, and that's okay. I'm not knocking him for that mindset. Once again, I'm not knocking him for thinking that way. Players are allowed to feel unsafe and not feel as if they have to go play in this certain environment. I just don't relate that to, then, him being able to go out there and be one of the best players in the bubble when the Sixers return. Because you got to be 300% clocked in to do that. And maybe it's possible that in the beginning he feels unsafe, and then as he sees the NBA's protocols and as he sees this move forward, he realizes, okay, you know what? This is good. I'm okay. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad this has worked out. I'm glad the NBA put together the best situation they possibly could for us. And then he gets more comfortable, and then his mind switches, and then he is fully clocked in. Maybe as he goes through the protocols, it makes him feel like, okay, I can do this. Right from the jump, though, I question that a bit. He said he worked too hard for this, though. He worked too hard for this to not go, to opt out. He worked way too damn hard for this. All right. Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see this. I'm intrigued, no doubt. I'm curious. Because there's so much to this Joel Embiid story. Brett Brown saying he's in the best shape that he's ever seen him. Josh Richardson commenting on Joel Embiid's shape as well. Joel Embiid talking about the 6 days a week. And then this type of conversation where I'm not going to say he downplays it, but he just is calm, super about things. He said he shouldn't really have a problem with what's going on outside of the games because all he does is really play video games. But is it fair to maybe question what other guys are going to do? Because there's plenty of partiers in the NBA, in all of professional sports. Well, when you think about that, okay, so Joel Embiid plays video games, but it only takes one person to screw this thing up. I will say, though, I've seen some veterans speak. I saw some veterans speak all around the league, all around sports. They said, look, today's era of athletes, they'll be all right. They're going to play Fortnite. That's what they're going to do. They're going to sit in their rooms and play Fortnite. They will be okay. It's about the other guys. And you know what? That's kind of true if you think about it, right? These younger generation stars, they grew up playing Fortnite. They grew up playing video games nonstop. So it's easy for them to hang out in the hotel rooms and just play on the sticks. Someone will be in room 301, someone will be in room 302, and someone will be in room 303, and they're all playing Fortnite together. They got their headsets on, and bang, they go, while Tobias Harris is reading a nice novel. That's what's going to end up happening. But they're not wrong, right? I mean, these athletes can probably do it. These younger athletes can do it with ease. Now into some basketball things. I mentioned that Joel Embiid said he needed to be more assertive. Joel says he needs to be more assertive. There were times he went through the motions on offense. Just demand the ball and do what I do, he said. He just wants to demand the ball and do what he does. That's great. Hearing that is great. You can question, well, is this Joel Embiid taking the next step? Is this Joel Embiid being more of the give me the damn ball kind of guy? With all due respect to Kobe, I don't think Joel's on that level, of course, with the Mamba mentality, but is this a fair question to ask? Is Joel Embiid taking the proper steps to get to that Mamba mentality? Is that what this is? He's saying, demand me the ball. Here's where I'm going to say no. I've heard him say this before. I've heard him say these comments before. I want to demand the ball. I want the ball more. I want this. I want that. I've heard it before. I've heard him say he wants to be the best big man in the league. I've heard him say he was the best big man in the league. I've heard him say all this. So I've seen this before. It doesn't relate to anything. Show me. That's where I'm at with Joel Embiid. And I'm not frustrated with him, right? I'm not frustrated with his comments, let's say. Because what is he supposed to go up there and say? I don't want the ball anymore? I get it. So I'm not frustrated with what he's saying, but I want to see it happen on the floor. I'm more frustrated with his play more so than what he says. Because he talks about how back at the end of the season, he was getting back to himself. Yeah, there was no Ben Simmons, Joel. So when you talk about wanting the ball more all the time, there's Ben Simmons, there's Tobias Harris, there's other players on the court, and that's why this team has so much talent. You give other guys looks as well. I'm not saying Joel Embiid can't get more looks. When you're one of the best players on the teams, you get more looks than other players. But yeah, you were dominating because there was no Ben Simmons. You're going to have to find a way to be able to dominate with your touches when Ben is on the floor and Tobias is on the floor and Al Horford's on the floor and Josh Richardson's on the floor, Shake Milton's on the floor. You're going to have to find ways to do your work when other players get touches as well. He talked about Ben Simmons. We're going to need him. I'm going to have to do my best to keep helping him and create some space for him. I feel like he has the right mindset. I know one thing about him. He wants to win. And yeah, I totally see that. I mean, I was never questioning if Ben Simmons wants to win. I know there's some silly Philadelphia 76ers fans out there that question, oh, does he ever really care? He's just a Kardashian lover. He's such a West Coast guy. He should be on the Lakers, right? There was that whole conversation that went down for quite some time before the contract came into play. Ben Simmons is going to be a big factor in this, no doubt. But I will say, one thing I do like out of Joel is he's not backing down from the Ben Simmons stuff. He's told Ben Simmons to shoot a bunch of times, and he's been very vocal about it. I've told him to shoot. We need him to shoot. We need him to do more. I'm cool with that. That's a good leadership thing. There's a positive out of it. The leadership out of Joel Embiid when it comes to pushing Ben Simmons, when it comes to really grinding Ben Simmons. We're going to need him, he says. I'm going to have to do my best to keep helping him and create some space for him. I'm a little shocked to hear that, honestly. I'm a little shocked to hear him say, I'm going to help create space for him. He's going to have to, though. But guess what, people? That might mean he might not be on the low block every single time, because you might have to push Joel Embiid out a bit to get that space for Ben Simmons. And that's reality. The beauty part of it is Joel Embiid has the skill set to actually do damage from the outside. Believe it or not, this isn't 1922 anymore when all the big men just stayed underneath the basket. Now big men are more versatile. Now they can do things by the perimeter. And Joel Embiid can do that. So there are times where camping him on the outside, it's okay. I promise you, it's okay. The same people that get pissed about Joel Embiid sure love Jokic. Jokic runs the point at times. He's a point center at times. Yeah. I find that interesting. Now, Pat Mahomes just signed a 10-year deal. Isn't that crazy? And you're probably thinking, what the hell does that have to do with the 76ers? I asked myself a question. Is there anyone in this city that I feel comfortable with their age to give them a 10-year deal? And I think that there's probably two. There's two. And I'm thinking, baseball, no, I don't really see anyone. You don't really give pitchers that. I ain't giving Aaron Nola that. I'm sorry, I don't feel that comfortable about Aaron Nola. one arm injury and boom, you're done. I know that can happen for any of these athletes in any sport, but no, not for Aaron Nola. He's not that much of an ace. He's not a Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander type, and I'd even question that. But anyway, I digress. I think there's two, and then there's a possible third. Number one is Ben Simmons. Yep, at his age right now, I would feel comfortable if Ben Simmons was with the Philadelphia 76ers for 10 years. It would actually be 12 because Pat Mahomes had 2 years on the current contract and they extended him 10 more. But if you said right now you can give someone on the 76ers a 10-year extension, or not even the 76ers, in Philadelphia sports right now, Ben Simmons is one. Absolutely. I feel that confident in Ben Simmons' skill set that down the road he's going to be so special. He already is special. He's going to be so special that absolutely I would be comfortable with Ben Simmons here for years and years and years and years and years. The second guy, Carter Hart, baby. This city has been looking for a Philadelphia Flyers goalie for so damn long. They got this kid who is so damn good at such a young age, and it's not normal. You don't see goalies at his age actually performing like this consistently, so I can't wait. And yeah, there's growing pains involved. I can't wait to watch him play and to see his career pan out. I would feel comfortable if you told me Carter Hart is here and they gave him a 10-year extension. No doubt about it, I would. And then the third, which was the questionable one, is also a Philadelphia Flyer. It's Travis Konechny. But I question that one a bit. That could just be an emotional reaction to the type of year he had. So Ben and Carter Hart would be my two. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. And you can comment down below in the comment section on YouTube, but if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify, because we are linked, all you got to do is use the review system as a comment section, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But continuing on here, Ben is going to have a serious playoff series. This is it. I mean, he's going to hear some noise. This isn't it in terms of, hey, if he doesn't get it done, he's absolutely screwed, because I don't expect him to just randomly shoot a jump shot, and until he starts taking more of jumpers, which is a work in progress for him, obviously, then he's not going to be this lethal, insane piece. But I did mention the last time I talked about the Sixers, Brett Brown talked about how maybe implementing Ben Simmons off the ball more is something that he's willing to do. And I mentioned that, and I said, that's good. I've seen Ben roll to the basket, be a factor, and someone claimed, you already saw that in the playoffs. You saw Ben off the ball, and it did not work. Nobody respected him, and he was essentially doing nothing, and it was 5-on-4. My rebuttal to that is, yeah, if he's sitting in the dunker spot doing nothing, I would have to agree with you. If he's sitting in an area underneath the basket in the dunker spot, yeah, he won't get anything accomplished. But using him off the ball doesn't necessarily mean keeping him in that one spot where he won't get anything done. Get him moving. Get him moving. When he's moving, it's so hard to defend this dude. So quick, at that size, with the ability to move the rock like he does and handle the rock like he does. Yeah, you can move him off the ball at times, and he can still be a factor without him just sitting in a certain spot. Now, Joel talked about Al Horford and said there's really no problem with him and Al Horford on the court at the same time, and that's just a flat-out lie, right? That's player speak. Of course there's a problem, Joel. It's been so miserable. It's been so ugly. There's one thing that I can't figure out. And I'm not a Brett Brown hater, but this specifically does go on Brett Brown. We don't utilize Al Horford with that pick and pop game as much as we should. Now, we don't play pick and roll basketball enough as we should, and that's a problem as well, but that goes on Ben Simmons. That goes on Ben Simmons. The reason why the Sixers don't really run pick and roll is because of Ben Simmons. When somebody has the rock in their hands who can play pick and roll basketball, they run pick and rolls. So it really does come down to Ben Simmons. The pick and pop with Al Horford was a factor. They do the pick, he pops out to about the elbow, bang. By the free throw line, bang. The pick and pop mid-range game, it's just gone. And that killed the Sixers when he was on Boston. And you can also pick and pop to a three as well up top. But him playing the stretch four, being in that four spot off to the sides, it's obviously hurt Al Horford's game, and it's just not his game. And People go, oh, I can't believe Brett put him there. When you are given a contract like Al Horford, a veteran player like Al Horford, you got to find ways to put him in and let him play to figure it out. It took 50 games, bros. The regular season means nothing when you know you are a playoff team in the NBA. The regular season is all about finding out what works for the postseason, getting your rotations down, getting your starting lineup down. And that's why when this guy's out, Josh Richardson's out, Ben Simmons is back, Al Horford's out, Joel Embiid's resting, they never really got the time to do what the regular season is for. So when you talk about, well, it took him 50 games, Brett Brown, it took him 50 games to get him on the bench. Yeah, it's because you're talking about a dude who signed a massive contract, who was a huge veteran in this league, and you were giving him to be in the starting lineup. You got to throw him out there and have him go out there and at least try for as long as possible. And then at some point, okay, you know what? It's just not working. But you give a player like Al Horford a long time to try and figure it out. It would be different if it was a Furkan Korkmaz. It would be different if it was somebody else. But it's a veteran who has had a ton of experience in this league, who you give the benefit of the doubt to say, hey, maybe you can fit in this role if you figure this out. We're going to give you time to figure it out. And obviously it did not work. And I don't expect him to be in the starting lineup. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Now, that doesn't mean you won't see you won't see Joel and Al on the floor at the same time, because I think there will be times you have to. If you think about the minutes and how long Joel's going to be out there, you're going to find time with Joel and Al on the floor at the same time. But it's how are they utilized during that run, which is going to play a factor on how everything is. Now, you heard Shake Milton and Furkan speak as well yesterday. Furkan was told by Brett he's an important piece. And look, I've destroyed Furkan for a long time. And then he had one hell of a season shooting the basketball. Defensively, he's been a problem. I think based off of what he brings to the table offensively, that nobody else really brings from just a three-point standpoint, he is going to have a big role, because you got to stretch out the floor. We have so many guys that don't stretch the floor and do the complete opposite, to the point where you're going to need somebody to do it. So, yeah, Brett telling him he's got an important role, I'm not shocked. But he better be on. He better be on when it comes to that offense. If he has one of those nights where he's 1 for 6 or 1 for 7 from 3, I would assume Brett would realize, hey, it's not his night, because defensively he's probably going to get torched. If he's getting abused defensively, but he's knocking down 4 of 5 from 3, okay, you can keep him out there then. It's when he's not making his shots or knocking down him shots is when you got to kind of, hey, give him the head nod back to the bench. Clock in somebody else. But based off the fact that he is a three-point shooter and this team needs that, and I'm rooting for him. See, I know a lot of people are like, bro, you've been ripping him apart for so long. That means when he has success, you can't enjoy it. No, of course I can. I don't give a damn. Because I rip his defense, that doesn't mean when he makes a shot for the 76ers, I'm going to boo him. I want him to succeed. I don't hate players. If I don't think someone's good enough, that doesn't mean I don't hate them. I don't hate Furkan Korkmaz. I want him to be a player. I want him to succeed. I want the Sixers to succeed. Why would I want someone to fail who's on a Philadelphia sports team? I'm okay with admitting I'm wrong sometimes. If Furkan becomes a player that is this big-time, huge difference maker in the playoffs, I'll come down here and say, guess what, guys? I was wrong about Furkan Korkmaz. I'm okay. If you give opinionated sports talk for 3 years, guess what? I promise you there's going to be moments where you might say something wrong. It's opinionated sports talk. That's what happens. I'm okay with it. You got to acknowledge it. So I'm rooting for Furkan. I want him to have a 40-point night. And I want to come down here and go, Furkan had a 40-point night, fellas. Let's go. He shut me the hell up. I'm all for it. All for it. So we will see. The defense scares me. I think this year he proved he can shoot the rock. Took a big jump in the three-point percentage. He could shoot the rock. But in the playoffs, it's a different game. It's a different game. Shake Milton spoke. He spoke about how he doesn't think the NBA should be playing right now because there's a lot of other issues going on in this world. And absolutely. My big takeaway, though, of hearing all these people say, like, I don't think we should play, I don't think we should be playing, maybe we should be focusing more on the Black Lives Matter movement, which I'm under the impression, though, of you can use this platform to make such a huge statement with the Black Lives Matter movement that going back to the NBA would only be beneficial to helping out that cause. Because we are talking about millions and millions and millions and millions of people who are big sports fans and even casual sports fans getting sports back on national television on all these major networks, and you can use that platform to spread the awareness of the Black Lives Matter. So I just think that you can use this to your advantage returning to the NBA. But when I look at this and hear all these quotes, right, Joel Embiid doesn't really feel that comfortable. Shake Milton doesn't think we should be playing. Mike Scott was very vocal. Like, there's all these players with the Sixers like, I don't really know. Brett Brown deserves credit because there's something that he does behind the scenes that isn't on record, that nobody really sees, that's so important. And that's keeping everyone together, keeping this team on the same page. Tobias has been a huge leader during this moment as well. There's a lot of people uncomfortable going in there. But with Brett Brown, it's not like him forcing him. It's just, it's the way that he has the culture. He has everyone believing. He has everybody in on this. Even if they're necessarily not 100% thinking this is the best move for them, he has everyone moving forward together as one. And I think that is important. That shows what Brett Brown is strong at doing. When everything was going down with Alshon Jeffrey and Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson in the locker room with the Eagles, the one thing I was saying is, look, I know Doug Peterson is not the strongest X's and O's football coach, but what he does well is keep everyone together on the same page. And during that time, that's the complete opposite of what Doug Peterson was doing. So I was saying, if he can't do the thing that he's so good at, if he can't do that, well, that's concerning because that's what makes him such a great coach. With Brett Brown, I think the thing that makes him the best coach that he can possibly be is his relationship with the players. So him doing this right now shows me that, okay, he's got what he's strong at. He still has that. A lot of people claim that, oh, he lost the locker room. Ben Simmons isn't shooting. Oh, that's a classic. No, he has the locker room. He has the locker room. This shows that he has the locker room, that these people feel the way that they do about this, but they are moving forward as a team. That starts with the head coach. And he's very active with what's going on around the world, with the Black Lives Matter, with his teammates, and making sure everybody's voice is heard when it comes to this team and the issues going on right now. And I think that Brett Brown has done a phenomenal job with this whole COVID-19 stuff. The whole COVID-19 stuff. To keep a team together like this throughout times like this, it's pretty unique. And I saw some reports saying, look, when it comes to what Brett Brown has been talking to his team about, it's been about 1% basketball and 99% issues out in the world at times when it comes to certain Zoom meetings. And that's why I talk about the relationship part of things. It's important. And it keeps those players together. And it's not just about keeping those players together. It's about actually learning the message and learning from these players speaking about what's going on and how they feel as African Americans in this country. So I'm for it. I think Brett has done a great job. I really do throughout this time. And we'll see if that relates to basketball, though. At the end of the day, yeah, the relationship side of things has to relate to basketball. We don't know what the hell to expect. You know, there could be a problem with the Sixers where players have to quarantine and then they lose first round. And then what? Do you fire Brett Brown? If they lose important pieces that have to quarantine and they can't even play the postseason properly? Like, there's just so much that can happen. It's going to be crazy. It really is. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Broads. Remember, this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. We are talking $0 electric bills, water purification systems, clean, healthy water for your family, tree removals, battery storage, and way more. They do so much when it comes to upgrades to your home. Their information is in the description along with their phone number. Thank you so much for watching. 76ers basketball, it's sneaking up on us. End of July. we're going to have sports back. So we hope. So we hope. Right now, so we hope. It would be devastating if the anticipation is there. We start talking X's and O's. We start talking about matchups. Baseball coming back. Hockey coming back. And then, out of nowhere, boom. Bomb drops. No more sports. We got to quarantine again. That would be crushing. Literally crushing. I don't know if I'd be able to handle it. I'm not going to lie to you. I do not think that I would properly be able to handle that situation. Thank you guys once again so much. And I will see you next time.